Hey guys, everything new under the sun. I want to make a video about the Drobo 5N setup and how you install WordPress. I've never done this before, and I went ahead and I did it from scratch. I recorded it all, and then of course I'm doing the voiceover afterwards now that I know what happened and I can cut and splice some things. So I have a Drobo 5N, and you can install all kinds of stuff, and the first thing I wanted to try was WordPress. So first I went into the Drobo, and I just simply tried to install it, and it gave me a bunch of errors. And I didn't even know what I was supposed to install. You're supposed to install MySQL first. Are you supposed to install Apache? I saw a website suggesting Apache shouldn't be installed because it conflicts with the UI of the Drobo, all this kind of stuff. So I wasn't sure what was happening. And I have my live data on here too. So you can see I'm trying to install these things. I'm getting an error. It turns out it was because I guess the Drobo needed a reboot or something. So I went ahead, restarted it, or connected again, basically. Didn't restart it. And now I was able to do it. So what I did first off is I just tried to install WordPress. And to my surprise, letting the cat out of the bag, it actually installs everything you need very basically for you, which is incredible. This install time took quite a while. This was like, I don't know what it was, 15 minutes. I stepped away from my computer. I just left the screen recording going. It went on for a while, and I didn't know if it was stuck or what. I couldn't really access the data well while this was happening, which was a little scary, etc. But in the end, it actually worked. So in this next clip here that we're coming to, you'll see that it now shows installed. Now you have, if you click on it, you now have this option to go ahead and configure it. This pops up a new window where you actually go through the install process. I was later to find out that it actually did install MySQL. If I would have scrolled down to the apps, it did install MySQL, and it did install Apache. Now it didn't install Java, Node.js, anything else. You might need other things, Perl, with these other things. You might need those things, but it doesn't do that by default. The cool thing is that it does get the basic stuff installed for you, and it just worked, no brainer. Now there will be passwords shown in this, unless I get around to blurring them out. That's okay. It's test site stuff. You can read some of the text on screen, but basically it's telling me to click the setup button. So like I say, all the passwords are tests. They're going to be replaced. So here is the window it brought up for me, and it looks like just a WordPress install window, which is really, really cool. This is turning out to be much nicer than I was kind of scared, to be honest with you. So you enter your site title, enter your password, all this stuff. So that's all well and good. And this is all, default install stuff. Now I did check later if I could do multiple installs of WordPress. Very simply out of the box you can. I'm sure you can get it in there alongside WordPress. You probably have to do some manual install of the folder for WordPress and then go to a different URL there. But this GUI installer, this wizard, will not install two different instances. This is kind of meant for one install. So here you get the success, WordPress, you type in your username, password. Again, I had to go back to my video because I didn't remember what the password was and retype the test password in there. But I eventually got it. And then we'll come up to the next clip here where it shows me actually getting into the software. So here it is, we're actually able to log in. Welcome to WordPress. This is amazing to me. This is working off the Drobo 5N. I'm very excited at this point in time. Its speed is average. It's not super amazing, awesome, quick. But it works very well. It's not laggy at all. To my way of thinking. Depending on how much load you're going to point at this thing, it could get slower, I suppose. But overall, all the settings are there. This is straight up WordPress, and I have like 5 or 6 other WordPress sites right now, so I'm very familiar with the interface, the UI, the options. Looks like everything's there. The one thing I did do, well, I'll create a test post here because at this point in time, I wasn't sure if it installed MySQL, but of course, it would have had to have all these things. For you to actually log in, it would have had to create the database. So I was kind of interested in that, and I was, like I say, it wasn't until later that I found out. And I looked at the apps that it indeed did install the dependencies, and so MySQL would be one of the dependencies, one of the things WordPress depends on. So here I am in the editor interface. Now I'm going to the actual website to look at my post to make sure the post is working. At this point in time, you could probably redirect your DNS, to this to the IP address of your Drobo and start serving this to the public if you wanted to. Now, because mine is a dynamic IP, I probably need to get a DIN IP, DYN IP service or something to keep updating to whatever IP I have. That's where the Drobo or the computer or the network pings back to the DIN IP service, and the DIN IP service updates with whatever my latest IP is so that it can redirect users to the website. So that's the kind of thing I'll have to think about on my consumer internet feed. Right now my bandwidth isn't high enough to do that, but it's something I'm looking for. The other thing you can do is set up a mail server. I also want to see if WordPress would update, and sure enough it does. You press update, and this did take a while because it has to download the file, but I cut out a bunch here. It goes ahead and downloads it and updates it. This is all on Drobo. This is not going through my Mac or anything. This is the Drobo is doing all this, downloading the package and extracting it, etc. This all worked perfectly. And again, I don't know. I guess I shouldn't say I'm wow, but I think that is pretty slick. My dream would be that I could get all my websites and host them from my 5N. My bandwidth, like I say, simply is not anywhere near good enough to be able to do that. But the ability to have a very basic website up there, hosting it myself, is pretty cool to tinker with. I do hope to install the Maldoba, I think it's called, Maldoba, whatever app for this. I hope it's just as easy, because I would love to actually host my own email here instead of having it go through Gmail. But WordPress seems to work great, and I'm loving this. So I went back to the Drobo interface, and I'm looking at this. I wondered, did it install the dependencies? So WordPress is up. So I scroll down to MySQL, and sure enough, look at that. It's going already. I didn't install that. The install of WordPress knew that it was a dependency and installed it. And that's probably why the install took kind of longer than I thought it would. So here it gives you the root username and the password. Of course, it's a test password, so don't bother trying it. You have no idea where my Drobo is anyways. But I'll be resetting this if I ever actually try and use this online. Right now, my Drobo isn't online by any stretch anyways. But it's pretty cool. So you have the ability to kill the service if you want. You can also open it, and this opens the UI for MySQL. So again, I didn't remember the password, so I had to go back and get the password. And I tried a couple of times. I don't know, I must have been fat fingering it or something. But anyways, sure enough, it loads a nice little UI where you can actually manage the database a little bit. This is MySQL there. And so you can see all the WordPress tables. Now here you could probably restore and hack in another WordPress instance and put another folder on the Drobo apps file, wherever the existing WordPress folder is, and basically host 2 or more WordPress sites. So that's pretty cool. I plan on trying that out later, although I didn't technically try that. I'm sure it works. There's Apache, so it did install Apache as well alongside. There's supposedly a version of Apache working for the Drobo UI itself. I went to configure this, and of course all it does when you click on that is opens a new window, and it just comes up with "it works" in the top left corner, as you can see, which is pretty funny. Not much to configure. Technically, you can go into the Drobo itself and tinker with all the configuration files. Honestly, I'm very happy that it's just point and click and it installs basic stuff. I am happy to work with basic stuff until I absolutely need some advanced configuration. I will do my best with the existing out-of-the-box config before I'll start digging for anything. So I hadn't seen any other videos about how to do this. Even the instructions on drobo.com weren't very helpful. So I thought I'd put this video out. If you appreciated it, let me know. Share it around. And I hope to have some other videos coming out about the Drobo apps as well. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.